This learning is Le'ili Nishmas Beruya Bas Chananya, Maseches Peah, Perek Mishna. Previously, we learned that if a Balabayas has Meiser Ani and he's giving it to the Aniyim, he has to give each one a minimum of what will last for 2 meals. And our Mishnah will teach what that means by a regular tzedakah that a city has, and the Mishnah will also talk about various tzedakahs that every city had and who is eligible for it. So the Mishnah says, "Ein peichasin la'ani ha'over mimakim la'makim." You can't give a poor person who's passing from one place to another place, meaning he's a guest in the city. You can't give him less mikikar bepundyin, the amount of bread that you could purchase, that you could buy with a pundyin, which is a certain amount of money. Ma'ar basein besela, and this is talking about when you could buy 4 sa'ah, which is a measurement of flour for a selah. In short, what this is it's enough bread for 2 meals. So every poor person that's passing from town to town, if he stops in your city, you have to give him a minimum amount of bread that could last for 2 meals. Lon, if he sleeps in the city, so then neistim lei parnasas lina, you have to provide him with what he needs for sleeping, like a bed and bedding. Shavas, if he stayed for a Shabbos, so on Shabbos a person has to eat 3 meals, so neistim lei mezayin shalish sudis, you have to give him enough food for 3 meals. Now the Mishnah is going to talk about the tzedakahs that the cities had. The cities had 2 types of tzedakahs. One was called a tamchui, which was a platter where they would collect actual ready food that people had, and then they would give it out to be eaten that day, since it was food that would get spoiled if it would pass the day. And then they had something called a kuppah, where they collected money for people to buy their own food, and that was given out once a week. It was given out every Erev Shabbos. So the Mishnah says, if somebody has enough food for 2 meals, so then he shouldn't take food from the tamchui, from the platter, because the platter is for food for that day, and this person has food for that day. He has enough food for 2 meals. And if if someone has enough food for 14 meals, that means he has enough food for the week. So then he shouldn't take from the kuppah, since the kuppah is to provide food, to provide the money to buy food for a week. And the Mishnah concludes, when they're collecting money for the kuppah, it's collected with 2 people. You need 2 people to be collecting, and the reason is because they're able to force a person to give money, which means they have a position of power. And when there's a position of power, you have to have a minimum of 2 people there. And when they give out the money, it's b'shleisha, they need 3 people, and the reason is because it's considered like dinei mamanis, it's matters of money, and all matters of money have to have a minimum of 3 people involved.